All right, if you're just waking up with us and just tuned in during that part of the news conference, welcome everyone. It's Friday morning. It is 5:03. I'm Cale Raymaker.
And I'm Kirsten Joyce. We, of course, have been following these developments overnight and will continue to the rest of the morning and into the evening hours. What's significant is that they say this indication could take hours. They're making significant progress, though, in the search for this second suspect, one of the two brothers believed to be connected with the bomb. From that news conference there, we heard from Deval Patrick, the governor of Massachusetts. Of note now, the entire city of Boston really put on a lockdown, which is, I guess, a bit of a surprise because we've been hearing all morning about this 20-block radius. You heard John Miller there with CBS News, their excellent national security correspondent there, saying that this 20-block radius around Watertown is where it's believed this suspect number 2 is hiding out. However, right after John said that, then we heard from the governor and the Boston police chief that really the entire city needs to stay in their homes, locked up, don't answer the door unless you're certain that it's a police officer. Obviously, the concern being that this suspect number 2 may be outside of the 20-block radius in Boston. Also, there's some concerns this morning, some conflicting information that there may be at least one accomplice out there that's been arrested. We haven't heard anything from CBS News about that, but NPR, for its part, reported a few minutes ago that an accomplice had been arrested. Now, keep in mind, this has been it's been a up and down week for the national media, for all of us, in terms of some erroneous reporting. So we want to let you know that everything we give to you is being handed from the Associated Press, CBS News, NPR. We'll let you know who's reporting what. So, but again, the situation, one of the two suspects, suspect number 1, dead this morning, involved in a shootout on the campus of MIT. An MIT officer dead, a MTA officer, which would be the, I believe, the Massachusetts Transit Authority or something similar to like that. That police officer severely wounded from these two suspects. And the suspect number 1 found dead with an improvised explosive device strapped to his body. So that gives you an idea that perhaps these two men, not looking to survive, looking to perhaps create more chaos and more deaths. Let's continue to follow some other news of note here this morning as we'll continue to get back to Boston as needed. At 5:05, we want to let you know that we do have some more information about that terrible fertilizer plant explosion, first that happened in the town of West Texas. These are some pictures from an affiliate in Dallas with its helicopter flying overhead. Look at what's left of that town. 35 people now confirmed to have died per the town's mayor. 35 deaths, 10 of those first responders who were initially responding to the fire. The fire, we know, then sparked that massive explosion. The force of the blast leveled buildings around the plant, and investigators just now beginning to get to the site to investigate the cause. Yeah. And they had a number of vigils last night, hundreds turning out for those, and plenty of people headed to the area hospitals to give blood to help those who were injured. It's
a very difficult week for the media to know what to focus on. It was on Boston, then all of a sudden we were focused on that small Texas town, and now we're focused back on Boston. Let's focus on our weather for the time being. Brian Brennan in for Sherry this morning, and an improving forecast, Brian.
Cale, Kirsten, good morning. Yeah, beautiful day today. If you enjoyed yesterday, you're going to love today. It's going to be warmer, just as sunny, and the breeze is going to die down. Right now, we're looking at winds below 5 miles per hour, 4 over at El Dorado, 5 at Durango and Robindale. So the gusts even below 10 miles per hour. So a nice, calm day as far as that goes. We'll get you started with temperatures in the mid-40s to just the low 50s right now. Elkhorn 51, 46 at Ellen and Craig, 48 near Pecos, Lake Mead and Nellis 49. So all across the valley, we're just starting to approach or break the 50 degree mark. Twain in Maryland 53, 48 over at Sahara. We're going to top out around 78 degrees today. And then the warming trend starts, and before you know it, we're at 90. I'll have more on that a little bit later. Brian Loftus will take it away with traffic.
I'd like to choose 78 instead of 90 if I could. Sounds delightful. It's I-15 in Lake Mead. The cones and barrels are gone. Your Lake Mead to Cheyenne lane restrictions no longer. I-15 is a good commute, as is 215 and 95. There is an injury accident at Nellis and Stewart. Another accident at Tropicana and Ocean Drive. 215 in Warm Springs. You do still have the lane restriction in place here, and you also have this closure on I-15 at Spring Mountain. As we go to our maps, if you're traveling northbound on I-15, You're shut down on Spring Mountain. You can see it right there. Just continue north and exit at Sahara. Back over now to Kirsten.
All right, thanks very much, Brian. A man who lost his wife and daughter to a violent attack is still recovering from the beating he took as well. Arturo Martinez says not a day goes by that he doesn't think of his family who's now gone.
They've been on my heart forever. There's no doubt. I mean, that's the thing. I have to look of them positive and step to negative.
Arturo nearly died in last year's attack, and when our crews visited his boxing gym here, you could see the staples in his head from a recent surgery. Despite everything he's gone through in the past year, you can tell he's still filled with forgiveness. He says he has to have a positive attitude toward life. As for the accused killer, Brian Clay, his trial is expected to start in June.
5:09 Friday morning. We're keeping an eye on the developments in Boston as we move ahead this morning. Plus, an utter surprise is what's cool at school this morning.
The massive canvas a local student is working with and the big money that could be coming her way.
Now of Boston, including suburbs, basically on lockdown with this massive hunt for suspect number 2, as he's being called. Scott Daniels joining us. He's been in the newsroom watching live coverage out of Boston. Scott?
Yeah, I've been stuck on WBZ, our affiliate out in Boston. It's creepy out there when all the streets are closed off. It's a little after 8 o'clock in the morning in Boston right now. And usually the streets, there's a lot of things going on happening out there. But right now, it's a ghost town. Well, besides the streets that have dozens and dozens of police officers, they're going door to door. They're making sure everything is safe with the shelter in place. They are looking for the suspect number 2, the man in the white hat right there, 19-year-old Dzhokhar Zarniov. He's from Chechnya, Russia area, which we are told from WBZ, that's what they are reporting. And they don't know where he is. They know that he stuck around last night and he was involved in this gun battle with police, the shootout, but they don't know where he is right now. And that's what they're doing. They're looking for him. So all of Boston, we learned over the last 10 minutes or so, is under this shelter in place where they should not leave the house, do not answer the door unless they are sure it's a police officer there. And we've seen officers going in with guns, armed, going into these houses, making sure everything is clear, and these officers are all over the place. And I want to toss it back to you, Cale. You have family out there who live out there. And imagine just waking up to news like this, that there's a terrorist in your neighborhood, or waking up to gunshots right outside your door.
Yeah, relatives, a cousin and family in Newton, which is initially one of the 4 communities that were put on lockdown overnight. But they got a robocall, basically woke them up out of bed this morning before they were getting up and getting ready to commute into the city for work, saying, do not leave your house. And stand by for further information. We may try and talk to them a little bit later to get their take on what's going on. But with social media playing out as well, this is it's absolutely, in a way, fascinating to watch this go on television, but also over the internet and over Twitter to see.
We've been getting plenty of updates through NPR, through CBS, of course, through all the major networks. And what's important to note, too, in the latest press conference, they had the police commissioner, urging folks to stay in their homes, saying this could take several hours, but, quote, that they are making significant progress. So.
Again, search for suspect number 2, and who knows if there are any other accomplices out there. That's something that I guess we'll find out in due time. We'll get back to that in a moment, but Brian Brennan very patiently standing by. Brian, good morning.
Absolutely. There's a lot of news to get to. I completely understand. We'll just update you real quick on the weather right now, which is gorgeous, by the way. As you plan out your day-to-day, just be prepared for a little bit warmer than we saw yesterday. Let's take a look here. 56 is what you'll have by 8 a.m. By noon, we'll beat our high of 69 or 70 yesterday. We'll be at 71 by noon. By 4 o'clock, we'll be at 78. That'll be our high. Then we'll start to cool down. Here's your 7-day forecast. The thing to note is this warming trend where we'll be 83, 88, and then by the start of your work week, 90. We're going to toss it over real quick to Brian Loftus.
Click on the AC, at least in the Loftus household. Good morning to you. I-15 in Russell, northbound right there. There's your access road reminder. Speed is 45 in the access road. Southbound, looking good in your commute. Moving on to our fast cam on 215. If you're traveling here, the area of Green Valley Parkway, it's wide open. You do have the lane restriction coming over from Eastern to I-15, that overnight work to widen the freeway. And once you get to I-15, here's your your travel. Cheyenne to 215 southbound and 12 minutes northbound, a little bit quicker, all the way up in just 10 minutes. Back over now to Kirsten.
All right, thank you, Brian. Get ready for some major delays if you're headed to the airport in the next few days. Jane King has the reason for the long lines in this morning's Bloomberg Business Report.
Good morning. If you're headed to the airport next week, patience is key. Air traffic controller furloughs are scheduled to kick in Sunday. It could result in hours of delays at some of the country's biggest hubs, from New York's JFK to Chicago's O'Hare. USA Today says Monday and Friday are the heaviest travel days, so that's when delays could be the worst. Well, more problems for Carnival. Another ship loses power at sea. In a separate report, the paper says the power loss only lasted 12 minutes, but it's not what Carnival needs right now. This comes just 2 days after saying it would spend up to $700 million to improve its emergency generators and safety procedures on its entire fleet. Well, Chipotle fans don't have to worry about another price hike. At least for now, the burrito chain says it's keeping a close eye on rising food costs, and if it does have to raise prices again, it wouldn't happen until later this summer or early fall. Chipotle also plans to roll out catering services nationwide by the end of August. Wall Street welcomes Shamu and Friends today. SeaWorld makes a splash at the New York Stock Exchange as the stock begins trading. It'll trade under the symbol SEAS. And stocks belly flopping again on Wall Street. Another down day on some disappointing earnings reports. And more everyday moms are buying luxury baby products, from $1,000 Bugaboo strollers to $50 designer tennis shoes. Bloomberg Businessweek says this reflects not only the improving economy, but the growing number of older parents with more of their disposable income. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King with the Bloomberg Business Report.
And it is 22 past the hour on this Friday morning, monitoring the situation in Boston, where one of the suspected terrorists in relation to the bombings has been killed overnight. The search continues for the second, and the city of Boston is basically under a complete lockdown. You're looking here at a live feed of our affiliate WBZ out of Boston. They've got 9,000 to 10,000 police units. They've got SWAT team members. So many individuals out there searching for this second individual.
The individual, by the way, that they're looking for is the one that, and I'm going to assume that a lot of you have already seen the picture the FBI put out yesterday, the one with the white hat, the backwards hat, and there he is on the right there on the left of your screen. I want to read something here from the managing editor of WBZ, which is a CBS affiliate in Boston, who spoke with the uncle of these two brothers. And the uncle, quote, calls one of them a loser and says that his nephew, who was killed in a gunfight with police, deserved it. The uncle also confirming that the two are indeed brothers. Now, they are not citizens of the United States, but they are legal residents, meaning they had a legal green card
Yes.
to be in the United States.
And we understand from CBS reporting earlier that they've been in the Cambridge area for a little over a year. Again, brothers, and this second one on the right, considered armed, extremely dangerous. And that's why from the last press conference we heard just moments ago, the police commissioner advising residents to remain in their homes, businesses, colleges, everything under lockdown. Nothing is open at this hour.
The brother that was killed overnight was found with a explosive device strapped to his body. Obviously, a lot of concern that suspect number two, the other brother, may as well be trying to elicit or take more lives, perhaps, before he is captured or killed. So we'll get back to that and continue to monitor that at 5:24 now on this Friday morning. Well, chances are at some point in life you've been up close with a cow, and you likely noticed just how darn big they are. So how'd you like to paint one? A high school senior just did, and she's a finalist for a prestigious national award. It is utterly cool at school.
It's a lot of work. It's a really big cow.
Holy cow, indeed.
My design was really, really intricate.
Little did senior Hagen Anderson know when she drew up this 8.5 by 11-inch design, would she be a national finalist, tasked with transferring her art to a life-size replica cow, 8 feet by 6 feet.
Now I have to put all these tiny details onto this cow. How am I going to do that? It took me a while to figure out kind of how I was going to do it, what kind of paint I was going to use, what materials I was going to use. And ultimately, I ended up just using black acrylic paint. There's not really much image here. It's just, in my artwork, I like to work in black and white, and I like to do a lot of really small technical details. So I really wanted to bring across my style.
The initial draft took an hour. The final piece, weeks. Working from a storage room at the Northwest Career and Technical Academy, this cow quickly became Hagen's labor of love.
It must have taken me about a month and a half. I worked on it for at least 3 hours a day after school. I came in on days off that we didn't have school. I was here for 6-7 hours working on it. So it really took a long time.
Hagen is one of 9 national finalists in the Lucerne Art of the Dairy contest, and that's out of 9,000 entries.
So I used Sharpie paint pens.
If Hagen milks out the win, she earns $5,000, which she'll use to help pay for her college at UNR in the fall.
It's really, really amazing. I mean, I never thought that my artwork would be, nationally recognized or even like locally recognized as anything special. And now it's, on the stage in front of everyone else's artwork. And it's a really good feeling.
Hagen's work of art, or cow, if you will, is now on display at the Vons at 7530 West Lake Mead Boulevard for the next 2 weeks. And voting for the best cow in the nation underway as well. The website is artofdairy.com. There it is at the bottom of your screen. So go there and vote for Hagen. We've also set up a link to that website at 8newsnow.com. Look for it under Cool at School, the Cool at School section. Don't forget, one of the programs we featured this month will win $250. Right now through Thursday, you can vote for this program at Northwest Career Technical Academy. And when you vote for that, also go to the link to vote for Hagen. She'd love to have your vote. Don't forget, if you have an email suggestion for us, send it. coolatschool@8newsnow.com. That's how we learned about Hagen. Someone at the school said that she was one of 9 finalists, and pretty darn cool.
Yeah, congrats to her. That's awesome. Well, it is 27 past the hour now. The story changing by the second. The hunt for one of the Boston Marathon suspects continues.
And we're headed into the bottom of the hour at 5:30. More live coverage from Boston as this continues to play out on this Friday morning.
We believe this to be a terrorist. We believe this to be a man who's come here to kill people.
That is the police chief of Boston this morning. One of 2 suspects in the marathon bombings dead, the other on the run at this hour. There is a massive manhunt throughout Boston for suspect number 2, as he is known. A live update coming up.
And the death toll rises. How many people fear dead after that huge explosion in the small Texas town? And it is 6:30 on this Friday. Good morning to you. I'm Kirsten Joyce.
And I'm Cale Remaker. Let's start with what's going on right now in Boston, Massachusetts. The 2 suspects that were shown on video by the FBI yesterday. We now know one of the 2 suspects dead overnight. Suspect number 2, as he's known, is on the run right now, and that has shut down the city of Boston. The latest now, taxi service throughout Boston suspended, Kirsten. That's after they shut down mass transit. They shut down mass transit being buses and trains. Airspace over the city being restricted. Amtrak service out of the city and into the city shut down as well. And everyone in Boston told to stay inside their homes.
Yeah, Scott's going to have a little bit more on that in just a bit. But we do have some new video we want to share with our viewers regarding the shootout of how this all unfolded late last night.
This started at MIT, on the campus of MIT. Take a listen. Yeah, this would have been roughly, give or take, 7:30, 7 o'clock our time last night. And initially, when this was happening, local police, the FBI, did not know that this situation involved their 2 suspects from the bombings. Only later did they learn that the men that they were involved with in the shootout and subsequent chase of a stolen car were these 2 men wanted for Monday's bombings.
Well, and then it started with the convenience store robbery.
A 7-Eleven.
And then went over to MIT campus, where the suspects are accused of shooting and killing a campus police officer. Then there was this shootout. We know that a police officer with the transit authority severely wounded in critical condition this morning. There was a police chase of a car that these 2 men had carjacked. Police say that they were throwing explosive devices out of the car at police cruisers in pursuit. At one point, the brother on your left, the one in the forward baseball hat there, the Bridgestone golf hat as it's being called, if you will, was confirmed dead at a local hospital with an explosive device found attached to his body. And then the second individual took off from that vehicle, took off on foot. There was an initial 20-block shutdown, but now that has increased to the entire area of Boston. Scott Daniels has been watching the coverage from out of Boston with WBZ and has the very latest on that.
Scott? Kirsten, Kale, it's like a war zone out there. I mean, the suspect who's still on the run is believed to be in that area of Watertown still. That's why police are focusing in on just a couple of blocks in that town. But all of Boston is on shutdown. They don't want anyone to leave their house. You can see military vehicles, Humvees out in the middle of the street, and police are questioning everyone. We've seen on WBZ, our affiliate out in Boston, they've been doing great reporting, and you can see on their cameras of police walking around armed, going into these houses, making sure everyone in every house is safe out in Watertown. But of course, they want all of Boston to be on shelter in place is what they're calling it. And usually this time, Boston's moving. I mean, there's a lot of campuses out there, a lot of businesses, and these places are all on shutdown as of this moment and will be most likely for the rest of the day. Well, they were pulling out, they were looking through the police through taxi cabs, and that's why just moments ago they shut down the taxi cab service. All transit, mass transit, the subway system, and all the roads, of course, are shut down. So, Cal.
Yeah, the big city is no longer. I want to read something here from, this is from our affiliate CNN. We use CNN as a news service. A friend of suspect number 2 who's alive, the one there on the right, the white hat backwards, telling CNN, we hung out, we partied, we are all in shock. Absolutely no signs that this person was capable. And Kirsten, you actually have the name of this suspect, not to put you on the spot here, but born in Chechnya, resident, both of them legal residents, which mean they had a legal active green card as of today.
Yeah, they could go in and out of the country as they please. They've been here for about the last year, living in Cambridge. 19-year-old Jokhan Snayev, excuse my pronunciation there, but he is still on the run at this hour.
And our affiliate WBZ, again, the CBS in Boston, also speaking with a uncle of the 2 brothers, and the uncle quoting WBZ, calling one of them a loser and saying that the one who was shot and killed got what he deserved. That's coming from an uncle of the brothers. So we'll continue to monitor this again throughout the morning and bring you any new information as it happens.
Yeah, thank you, Cale. Another big story that we are following, the death toll continues to grow in that massive fertilizer plant explosion in Texas. The mayor of the town of West tells USA Today that 35 people were killed. Previous reports had that number somewhere between 5 and 15. Just look at these pictures taken from high above the plant. They show just how destructive the blasts were. 50 to 60 homes in a 5-block radius were damaged.
We can't get back there, but it's totally, completely, like the roof just caved in.
A playground and an apartment building nearby were also destroyed. Texas Governor Rick Perry has declared McClellan County a disaster. Authorities still have not figured out exactly what caused the deadly blast.
Earlier in the week, our big story that we led with was the weather, because it was unusually cold. We had the terrible winds, but that's all in the past. Brian Brennan in for Sherry. Good morning.
And since then, good morning. The news has not stopped. Let me update you real quick on what your weather's looking like. Looks like the sun's just starting to kind of peek out there, kind of getting a little clearer, and you're starting to see those blue skies. It's going to be beautiful out there. Yesterday, we had some gusty conditions, about 20 miles per hour worth of gusts. Now the sustained winds are all below 5 miles per hour today, and the gusts are below 10. So there'll still be a little bit of that breeze, some calm winds today, but just absolutely gorgeous, especially when we break into the mid to upper 70s today, which is quite a bit warmer than we ended up with yesterday. Right now, let's take a look at your current conditions. As you head out the door, maybe grab a jacket. Breaking into the 50s, upper 40s in some areas. Warm Springs and Bermuda, 47. South Durango and Robindale, 47 as well. And just now, starting to break into those 50s. Brian Loftus is here to tell us what the roads are looking like.
Thanks so much, Brian. Looking at your drive here, it is pretty good right now. We don't have any major issues, which is a good way to start your day, at least in the commute department, I should say. 215 southbound and eastbound, a little bit of a delay here near Windmill. That construction that we've been talking about all week, Warm Springs shut down between Eastern and Pecos. That has lifted. They finished at 8 p.m. last night. I-15 between Lake Mead and Cheyenne, those cones had been moved to the side of the freeway with the work on the North 5th Street Bridge. Spaghetti Bowl coming down at nice speeds. Look at that, 72 between Charleston and Sahara, and also an accident coming in Nellis and Stewart on the east side of of the valley. One more look. It's 95 in the Rainbow Curve. Southbound coming around without any delays. Back over now to both Kirsten and Kale.
All right, thanks very much, Brian. It is 38 past the hour. Please stay with us. We will continue to monitor this situation that is unfolding in Boston.
We'll be right back.
6-2. Stand by dog, sound dog.
It's horrifying to, this my home. I come here all the time. You know what I mean? Like I got my license here. This is my home.
She got her license.
And it's scary to
It's
think of
almost
your
a war
home
zone.
as like a war zone.
Lower
almost.
you.
41 past the hour. People reacting to what they're waking up to. The city of Boston under
Stand by
complete
one.
lockdown.
Go
No
up
one
to one.
allowed in or out as the search
Stand by
continues
6A.
for suspect number 2, the terrorist associated with the Boston
Actually, stand
Marathon
by the still.
bombings.
Still
His
store, Bill.
brother, authorities confirmed,
Go still
killed
store.
overnight. They've now honed in on a certain home,
Stand
an
by
area
6A.
in Watertown, one of the suburbs there. The individual on the left
Yeah.
confirmed dead. The individual they are still looking for is the gentleman on the right, 19-year-old,
Going to
as
6A.
WBZ, our affiliate in Boston, is calling him Zokar Zarnioff. And we've
CG1's
been
good.
hearing from family members of these individuals. The AP reporting that the uncle telling the AP that the men lived together near Boston. They've been in the U.S. for about a decade. They traveled here together from the Russian region near Chechnya, Kale.
You can't read all of that lower graphic from WBZ, but I can tell you what it says. Uncle tells, there we go, WBZ suspects have been in the U.S. since 2000 or 2001. That's the same uncle that told WBZ that one of them was, quote, a loser, and the one who was shot and killed, quote, got what he deserved. The uncle of the brother there being quoted from WBZ. But again, we are hearing from multiple sources that for the second time in 2 hours this morning that crews are zeroing in on a home in Waterford. This happened at about 4:10 as well. We saw a massive SWAT team go into about a 4-story home. About 10 minutes later come out, no incident there. But again, they believe that they may have a new building, a new house, whatever it is, a structure
Stand by.
that they believe that
One.
this number 2 suspect, the 19-year-old, may be holed up. But again,
Okay, going up to
Boston
one.
on a shutdown, totally locked down, and this started about 7:30 last night. Innocently enough, if you can say it that way, with a robbery at a 7-Eleven near the campus of MIT. It then escalated from there with a shootout, a carjacking, and then at that point in time, Kirsten, the authorities realized that these men that they were after happened to be the suspects from the Boston bombing.
And a campus police officer was killed as well, dealing with these individuals.
Correct. All right, we're going to continue
Wait,
to
two.
monitor that. We'll go back to that as needed. 5:44 this morning on Friday. There is
Stand
some
by A.
local news of note involving the state legislature. The man who is taking over the state assembly
his
seat
name.
left open by Stephen Brooks's expulsion will be sworn
A.
in
Roll A. Take
officially
A.
today. Clark County commissioners earlier this week appointed Tyrone Thompson to represent District 17, which covers much of North Las Vegas. He is taking over for the rest of the legislative session,
And lose it.
which wraps up in June,
One on a
taking
two-shot.
over
Two, you're
for
in motion.
disgraced former
Wait, one.
Assemblyman Stephen Brooks.
And to zone up
All right, in
to
the world of traffic and weather, we've got the two Bryans on
Stand by
standby
two.
right now, don't
And
we?
they're
B2.
Take two.
As we
Brian
like to call
squared.
them.
Here we are. Right. I like it. Thank you so much for keeping us informed. Brian left us
We
put
didn't
it
say
the
which
best
one
way.
he
So
wanted,
much
Jake.
news going on.
Yes.
So our
Let's do
main
three.
job
Rate
is
three.
Keep it quick and get it back to the news, and we'll have more on Boston
Yeah.
just ahead. We got traffic and
Absolutely.
weather. We'll start with you, Brian.
And go
We'll
up to
start
three.
there. Let's go over to weather. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? We got the twilight going on,
Stand
just
by, Max.
gorgeous outside, and we're really
Yeah.
dealing with some fabulous
like bus
weather
stop
right now.
breeze.
Warmer than yesterday, back to what
Yeah,
we're
go up
used
to
to.
Max.
As you send
Little
the
bus
kids
stop
out the
music.
door for their bus stop to get picked up, 51 degrees.
Brian wants maps.
Put on a jacket. It'll be sunny and a little breezy
Comes.
all day. Let's take a
Yeah,
look
actually, I
at
guess
those
he'll be
winds.
coming back in. Hopefully
Around
he'll be coming back in.
5 to 10 miles per
I'm
hour
hoping
today.
Brennan will
Around
come
8
back in.
really for the most part. And then the winds drop down
might be
and we
reading it
get a
wrong.
warming trend where we just see it ticking all
Yeah,
the way
I'm
up
reading it wrong.
to
Keep
where
Brennan
today
out.
we're where we should
You put
be.
Brian
And by Monday,
Loftus
we're well
with
above
maps.
normal.
Brian
Brian
Loftus with
Loftus
maps.
is here for that
Sound
update
62,
on your traffic.
62.
Thanks so much. Looking at your drive right now, we have a pretty easy commute. Nellis and Stewart is an injury
There's
accident
Loftus'
that's
name.
lingering a little bit. Your travel time, spaghetti ball on I-15 down southbound in
And
4
Lizard.
minutes. Your northbound reverse
Fast one's
commute
next.
up against the grain of the peak commute is also taking just 4 minutes. And here's why.
Here you
We
go,
can see
fast one.
open roads, Interstate 15 in Charleston. There's
the last
northbound
one.
World Market
Anchor's
Center
going to
off in
break
the
next,
distance.
right?
Your southbound coming around on the
again,
left
next
side
is
of your
just the
television.
there.
Those
Stand by, Kim,
headlights
one.
are showing you a good drive. 5:45 right now, about
Right,
45
Anchors.
minutes before it really starts to
Mike.
slow down.
And
Back over
take
now to
one.
Kirsten and Kale.
Brian, thanks.
6A
All right, we will
for
be right back. Stay
goodbye.
with us.
Little music and go off to 6A. Stand by your brake. Roll your brake. And go to black. On 6-2. Stand by cam 2. Anchor mics.
And welcome back. Thank you for waking up with us. 5:49 Friday. Very fluid in Boston, Massachusetts
Anyway,
this morning. Let's get to the very latest information. A third person
go up to 6-8.
just arrested, according to CNN, at the home of the two brothers who are the suspects in Monday's
Stand by your
marathon
system.
bombings.
Do you want to do your
This
2, 5,
third
4,
person
5? Do you
not
have
being
time to go to
called
background on that?
a
2, 5, 4,
suspect,
5?
just that the person was in the home of the listed address
can
of
go
these
up
two
to it.
brothers. That person arrested. Also, an uncle of the brothers now confirming not only to our affiliate WBZ but also the Associated Press that they are indeed brothers who had lived
call this guy a
in the
suspect,
United
not a
States
gentleman.
for about a decade,
think
traveling
anyone at
here
home
from the
thinks
Stand by
Russian
C.
region near Chechnya. Not citizens, but legal residents, Kirsten, meaning they had a legal green card with them.
Yeah, they did. And the one still at large, suspect 19-year-old Zokhar Zarnioff,
Yeah,
excuse me, his brother, the 26-year-old, killed overnight in that
Stand
shootout
by
with
6-8.
police. But actually, he was, authorities telling us, run over. And then when he was confirmed dead at the hospital, they found what, Kale?
They found an improvised explosive device
Yeah, go up to 6-8.
attached to his body.
And you can throw that in.
During this chase of the two brothers, they were seen throwing small explosive devices outside of the car that they had carjacked at police who were in pursuit. This started with a robbery at a 7-Eleven, which is also being called a gas station. And of course, a lot of 7-Elevens sell gas as well. Very close to the MIT campus, the Massachusetts Technology. We do know that there was a shootout with a campus police officer. The brothers shot and killed that MIT officer. Along the way, a mass transit police officer was shot, severely injured, is in critical condition. Then there was the carjacking, and it was at this point in time, Kirsten, that police realized that this crime scene involved their suspects from the Boston Marathon. They were not out actively searching for them in the area. It's that
Stand
these
by
two
boy.
brothers
Ray Boy.
perhaps may have noticed that their picture was all
Go
over
boy.
the world for 6 hours and were maybe attempting to make a run for it. We don't know,
602
but at one
jump
point
rope
in
is
time,
dead.
they started committing some crimes near MIT, and then that's when the connection was made to what was going on to what happened on Monday.
And of course, a lot of tips came in once those pictures were released to the public. We will continue to update you and, of
Stand
course,
by
have the
2.
very latest
Yeah, going
in the
up
next
to
few
2.
minutes. Meanwhile, we do want to let you
Stand by
know
1,
about
Ray 1.
3 fresh
Take
job
1.
listings from Job Connect
Stand by
and
6-2.
8 News Now. First up,
Sound.
a driver
Ashley.
and warehouse worker.
602
It pays
is
about
dead. Go ahead
and go up to
$13 an
music.
hour, and you need 2 years of
Traffic
experience driving a flatbed truck.
And go next
There's
one.
also an opening for a hotel account representative. You should be at least 23 years
what's
old for
trending stuff,
insurance
right?
purposes. That pays
202
about
shot.
$9.50
Or
an hour.
203 shot.
Finally, a
And
security
thank you.
guard paying $8.25 an hour.
203 shot with
You need a
Brian.
private investigating licensing board license in order to apply. We do, of course, have more information on these jobs and more
Rate
on our
2.
website, 8newsnow.com. Keyword
All
jobs.
3 mics.
All
Desire.
right, and just the latest now, several
fast one.
agencies, the
Fast
Associated
one,
Press
Maps.
reporting, police have surrounded a home in Watertown, and they are speaking through loudspeakers, telling the suspect to come out. They believe they may have him zeroed in on a house. So crazy, crazy morning.
fast one.
Imagine doing traffic in Boston this morning. I guess there's probably not a lot of it because the entire city of Boston shut down, telling
Lockdown.
everyone in the city to stay inside. There are no buses, there are no taxis, there's no train
you
service.
know,
Yeah,
lot of sky
lockdown. I have
cams are a
family in
little dark.
Foxborough,
Yeah,
and
go
my
on.
uncle works in Boston, so I'm curious. I'm
So
going to
he's
send
not,
him in.
he's not going into Boston
Very
today.
fast.
Staying home today, as is recommended
Yeah,
by
going up too
police.
fast, one.
Quick check on your traffic and weather, and then
Maps
we'll get
next.
back to this breaking story. I-15 in Washington is where we start. Looking at the southbound movement, which is on the right side of your television for any delays. Not yet, folks. We're
607
doing
is
pretty
dead.
good.
We replace
Nellis
that
and
with
Stewart is
unemployment
our
with
only
Kale.
lingering
That's
accident
just a
reported
reader.
with injuries.
After
As
that,
we
we'll
go
go
to
back
the
into
traffic
Boston and
maps
end
on
the
the
show
east
with
side
that.
of the valley. Again, Nellis and
Got
Stewart
Stand
is the
by fast.
intersection.
Down again
And
to
one
the
more
end of the
fast
show.
cam
Can go
for you.
fast
These
too.
fast cams
Six.
provided by the Regional Transportation
weather's next
Commission.
with
We can
B of
look
A.
all over the
2, you're
valley.
going for a
One thing we
Kale
learned
single,
about
1 you're
Boston
going
is
for
there's
a
cameras
2-shot.
everywhere in every city, and
B of
that's
A
what we
for,
have here. And a camera right now, 95 in Decatur, showing a
for,
good movement northbound and
Brent.
southbound. Actually, very
Race
light on
6-2
our
for
valley
Brennan.
freeways.
Have
We'll
Brian
take it
step out.
in the traffic department. Checking in
Sound
with
6-2.
the other Brian Brennan,
go
also
6-2.
standing about
Brian
6'3", 6'4". Here he is with your weather.
Good morning. Thanks for that. Beautiful sunrise right
Stand
now.
by Max.
Weather's going to be gorgeous today. Let's take a
Yeah, go up to
look
Max.
at our satellite radar here. Nothing over here as far as anything that's going to push any moisture into
He'll
Las Vegas.
send you
It's gonna be cool
unemployment.
and dry. Actually,
then
the
we'll do,
warming trend is about to start.
2-shot go to break.
Chicago is pretty much hammered, flash floods and stuff like
Here's
that.
Brennan
Right
again.
now, most of that storm has pushed off to the east, so we're going to see some heavy rain on that part of the country. Your 7-day forecast, real quick. I said there was a warming trend, and I meant it. 90 degrees on Monday. And Kale, how do you feel about 90-degree weather?
Right too.
Maybe a little too early in the year, Brian, but I guess we have no choice about it. It'll be a good preview of what's to come. Some new information in this morning involving Nevada's unemployment rates. The state out with new numbers. Good news, bad news. In March, the statewide unemployment rose to nearly 10%. That's higher than the rate in February. But in Las Vegas, the unemployment rate has stabilized down to 9.8%. That is lower than it was at this time last year. Again, these numbers according to Nevada's Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation.
And we are getting word that authorities have closed in on the second suspect connected to the Boston Marathon bombings. Apparently, these two brothers have been living in the United States, according to their uncle, for the last 10, 11, 12 years. They've got green cards, can travel in and out.
And a friend of one of the brothers telling CNN just a short time ago that they hung out, had absolutely no idea that something like this could happen. We heard from that same uncle, told our CBS affiliate in Boston that one of them was, quote, a loser, and the older brother, the one on the left shot and killed overnight, quote, deserved it. That's according to the uncle. But again, I want to emphasize, not citizens. There's a big difference between being a U.S. citizen and being a resident. A resident means you can be here legally, as Kirsten mentioned. Right now, as we look at some pictures from our CBS affiliate, this is the community of Waterford and, Watertown. And police have zeroed in on a home there. They are using loudspeakers right now, the SWAT team, to speak to this younger brother they believe is inside, urging him to give up, and obviously dealing with a severe, extreme caution, because the older brother was found with a explosive device strapped to his body last night when they found him dead in the street after a police chase.
Yes.
Obviously, you can draw the conclusion here. You can connect the dots that if he has an explosive device attached to his body, he certainly was willing to blow himself up and cause more harm and more death and destruction to whoever in Boston.
And we're talking about this 19-year-old, his brother, 26-year-old, according to the uncle, killed overnight, as you mentioned, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, 19-year-old. He took off running after this car chase where they let the gentleman go, the unharmed man who was in the car that they took over. He took off 20-block radius, was cordoned off, and then that grew overnight.
Which grew to the whole city of Boston, which is on lockdown. We're going to the top of the hour. We will be right back with a live report from Boston again on the situation there. It is 5:56 on Friday morning. We'll be right back.
3, 2, 1.